Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. What do you think I'm at? Stick around. New week, a new game plan. We're back on the VIC100. And this week, the plan is to do bodywork and primer, maybe? I don't know. All depends what I get myself into here now. But the first thing I got to do here is I got to get all this cleaned up, get the garage cleaned up. I want to set it up so I can get the box in here. I gotta go clean up the bench again. I got to go upstairs and get some body supplies for this. Make a list of stuff that I need to pick up for it. And my plan is here, I'm gonna sand the whole truck with 100 stick it, feather edge out all this here. Then I'm gonna go back over it with the grinder and just give these here roughing up again. Then I'm going to put rust converter on these. And then anywhere where there's welding, like patches, like here, I'm going to put a skim of fiberglass on it, a skim of fiberglass on it here, and then I'm going to fill all the bodywork in any of these low spots. It seems like I dropped the hood and put a dent in it. I'd refill that. And buzz it off and prime it. That is the plan. I'm not getting too in-depth into doing. There's not going to be a sanding block touching this truck. If an oscillator don't get it, I'm going to freehand it. And that's my take on that. I just want to clean this up. Like, you know, it's too much going on here to leave this like it is. As cool as some may think it is. It's just going to rust on me and all the pits and everything. And I got to get all that sorted out because I do have some of it up here now. That you can see like handprints is starting to rust on me. So I got to get that all looked after. But I want to get it in primer. I also got to seam seal all these seams. All this along just drip edge got to be seam sealed. All along the front here got to be seam sealed. All this in here got to be cleaned up. I want to get the dash out of it. That's another thing I'm going to do. Steering column, seats, get them out of there. Speaking of the seats, a lot of responses on them seatbelts in the last video. Let me make something perfectly clear. A lot of people see modern seats that got the seatbelts bolted to the seat. Do some research because where the seat mounts, or the seatbelts mount to the seat also bolts down in that area. Like it's usually back seats that are like this, or in the front seat is on the side, and that mounts right to the actual side of the seat. That's not recommended to go bolting them to that seat. That seat there will pull and bend because there's only a slight piece of steel going across there reinforcing it. The only way to reinforce it is actually weld a piece across it and weld it to the floor. What I'm planning on doing is here to fix this is I'm going to keep the same setup that I got here now, and I'm going to see if I can get a longer seat belt. I want to cut down that seat mount that's there. I just got to cut the top off it and mount the seat belt to them side pieces that I got coming up from the floor. And if the seat belts are long enough, I can probably bolt them right to the floor. But that's the way they were done. This is a square body shed seat. When this was in the truck, it had seat belts coming up to the floor coming up to the seat that bolted to the floor. And they were just long seat belts. And that's the way I want to have this again. I'm not going getting into mounting stuff like this. Like, when it comes to safety, some people have talked about sewing up seatbelts. No. When it comes to safety, I'm using factory stuff that's already been DOT approved, and I'm just adapting it into my truck. And I want to adapt it in such a way that it meets the standards of what it's supposed to do. That's the reasoning for that brace there. That bolts down to the actual seatbelt mounts from the original Crown Vic. And that's how the Crown Vic, like this seat belt here, bolted to the side of the seat. And on the side of the seat, it went down and it bolted to the floor. And there was a big bolt, and that's what I got this mounted to. So, no, I'm mounting stuff to the seats. Some fellas talked about chains or cables. No, you always try to find factory stuff when it comes to seatbelts and the safety end of it. It's not the whole point that you can't do it. Yes, you can put rope on it if you want to. It's just the whole point. You're thinking about safety, and I don't want to go tampering with none of this stuff here, sewing it or cutting it or anything like that and joining it on the stuff. No, it's either got a bolt in for safety or you don't do nothing else with it. That's my take on that. You just got to modify your mounting points so that it's all in the car. Like with how seatbelts are mounted, they're mounted to the body of the car. This is a off the frame type of unit. You don't mount it to the chassis, because in the case of an accident and the body comes clear of the chassis, you want to be with the body and not the chassis, because if the body comes off the car and you're bolted to the chassis, you're in trouble, okay? Unitized cars are different because the entire car is all one piece. But in the case of this here, you don't bolt it to the chassis. Anyway, that's my rant for today. It's great, the responses I've seen all and there's lots of cool ideas the fellas came up with, and the thought process and stuff like that. I greatly appreciate it. But I figured I just better point that out, the safety issue when it comes to seatbelts. This is not modifying a bomber door or a fender. We're talking about safety now. And to back it up, I'm iCar trained. I'm a auto body technician for over 30 years and worked in the collision industry. And all this stuff we had to run in time again, like the airbags replacement, just all that type of stuff. So I'm familiar with all this, and I'm just following the guidelines so that I know that it's from the factory. So the next time you see a vehicle with seatbelts mounted to the seats, take a note of how the seatbelt is mounted. Because some of the Chev trucks, I don't know if my plow truck is like it or not, but some of the Chev trucks got the seatbelt mounted in the seat, the actual harness, but the whole works of it is mounted to the floor. In my plow truck, you can see the actual harness is mounted in the seat. This is a fully modified seat. All this down through here. These seats weigh a ton, and all this goes down through here and is mounted down here where it bolts on down here. That's the way it is. These here got a very heavy duty mechanism locked in place. I was never fussy on these seats because, to me, it's just the way they were mounted. Like the mechanism for that, I think, is mounted down here, and it comes up through and comes over the top this way, and then it's all mounted down here. That's the way they are. So this is the only ones that I find that were like that they had the seatbelts mounted in the seats. But the structure of these seats has a lot to do with they passed DOT because the way they're constructed. It wasn't just a bunch of pieces tack welded onto a bunch of sheet metal. These are the ones that I got. This is the other cop car. This goes down through here and bolts on down here right by that mount, that bolt. Now this bolt here and this bolt over here for the seat, these are the ones that you see that I got rigged up in the truck now that I bolted to. These here are bolted. I got that bracket made up that goes across, are the two back seat mounts belong to this here front seat. And that's the way they were mounted. They're bolted to the seat, down here, down low, and the bracket itself is part of the actual mount. So this seat belt here is really bolted to the floor. Also, I just want to point out the back seat ones in these are really short too. So they're the two ones here, and they're bolted to the floor, of course, and they're even shorter than the front ones. The front ones on these are longer. My plan is to see if I can find either a Ford van or Ford truck that's got longer belts in it. And I'm going to adapt. I just got to find the one with the same style as that takes the plug. So that's it on the seat belts. I figured I better address all that because there was a lot of comments on it, and it was a lot of stuff that I was a bit sketchy, and I said, I better cover this in the next video and talk about them seat belts. But went over that. What I got to do here now is I got to get everything situated. I got to get all this stuff out of here and get the dash out of this, get the steering column out of it, get the seat out of it, get the seat belts out of it, get everything out of it now so I can start doing body work on it, because I got to fill all this in here and get this all prepped. This is the main reason why I'm trying to finish the cab first, and people are asking why ain't I doing the box, is that I want to get this painted and I want to get this up here painted so that way I can put the dash in it, the wiring in it, get all that done. I get the motor and transmission and everything put in it. But I want to do all this at once and just have it done and over with. And what I'll probably end up doing is probably later on in the week, if I can get a few hands up here and I got the garage cleaned up, I'll probably bring the box in and set it up over here, or move this over there or whatever, and just set it up in the garage so I can actually pick at it. So if I get tired or I'm waiting for filler to dry or something like that, I can come over and work on the box. so I can get that done. But I got to try to get something done with this here. Once this is all done and primed, I'll get the inner fender wells painted, get the rad support painted, get all this in primer. I can turn around and bolt this all together. I can put the motor transmission in it. I can get it running, do all that. I haven't got to worry about it no more. I can do all the suspension or whatever I got to do with that. I just wants to get it to the whole point. When I put it together, I haven't got to take it apart again, because I'll probably do something with the winter. I don't know yet. I'm liable to prime this red and turn around, and that'll be it. Now, the primer I'm using, it's International, okay? Now, International, this is Interseal 670HS. It comes with all different colors. This is all primers. Use this all in primers. And I think it's a red here, Signal Red. That's the one closest that I can find here. This is the one I'm going to pick up a gallon of this here in the Interseal 670HS. This is direct to metal, very high build. And I've used it on the Toyota. I use it on Wendy's Mustang. It's not easy to sand, but it's a great for actually making something strong. Now, it's not got no UV protection. I'm not worried about that, because there's nothing cooler than seeing a faded out red truck. So, and then she'll be patinaed. So this is what I'll be putting on it for primer. The whole thing will be done. So I love red. I want to keep it all red, and that's what I'll be putting on it. The Interseal 670HS. So I'm going to go on now, and I've rambled on enough about stuff. I'm going to get this garage and everything straightened away, get stuff taken out of the garage here and put out the trailer out of my way, and get the garage all cleaned up. And I'll bring you back, and I should be start sanding. So I went and got everything off the back of it. I come in here, and I got everything on the inside of it. I got the dash taken out, steering column taken out. I got seats taken out, seat belts. Got everything removed out of this now, so I can just go ahead and start doing bodywork and everything on it. I got the grill, everything, all that removed from it, so it's just the panels. What I'm going to do is just sand the entire truck as it is. I'm going to dismantle this as I'm going, as I need be, because I want to prime everything in pieces, I think. It'll be a lot easier, because I want to prime the cab inside, the doors, the firewall, upper section, stuff like that, so it's a lot easier with the panels off. But to do most of the repairs on this, I want to have the actual panels all bolted on the truck, so I'll do most of the filler work, all this stuff up here, right here, the bottoms here, all this up here. I'll do all that now with all the panels on it. Been experimenting here just to see. It seems to sand pretty good. Now, I am not getting carried away with it. I have a bunch of these little dots and everything here. The problem I got with this truck is there's an abundance of filler on it, and there's a bunch of work on it. I'm not getting in stripping it. I just want to make this look clean, smooth. I don't want to have no big heavy dents or nothing in it. I'm not concerned about it being perfect. The more I dig into this, the more I say, you know, it's almost a waste of time to me to put shiny paint on this, but we'll see. I'm going to put a red primer on it, and it's going to have a satin finish to it, so I'm going that route with it. But I'm over here now, and I dug out all my materials, everything that I need to get. This here, I got for doing my inner fender wells and the rad sport. I should have enough of that there. I like to blacken out the chassis and everything on that. Bit of gravel guard, the spray underneath the bottom of the rig. Some couple of cans of seam sealer that are open. There's some of them. I don't know how much is in either one of them. And I picked up a couple of tubes. This is the only thing I bought so far of seam sealer for the roof itself, the sealing around the drip rail. And then I got some all my body work. 40 stick it. And 100 stick it. That's it. Done. Put primer on it. I got a little small bit of fiberglass here. Short strand. I don't like this stuff. I got to pick up other stuff. And I got a little small thing. So I got to pick up filler, fiberglass, possibly more seam sealer, and gravel guard. I should be good on that there. The rest of it is fine. This here is a stick it. Okay, so I got that rigged up here on this oscillator. This is my ear one. I got my VIC100 one here. This is a really good one because it doesn't beat the compressor up so much. This one here I'm going to use, I'm pretty sure, for the 40s. And I also have a pad here like this, a hooker pad. Because this is a hooker pad here. That's what these ones here are. They're hooked. It's like they got a cloth backing on them. They don't stick on anything, and they go on and they interchange. I got them there, so, and that's what the actual VIC100 pad is. It's got a hooker pad on it. So I'm not going to bore you with all kinds of videos of me spending hours sanding this here. I'm going to dig into this morning and just start sanding it and see where it gets, see what it looks like, and go from there. I'll get all this sanded off and get it all ready so I can start doing body work on it. But I'd like to get it all straightened away so I got an idea where I'm to here later on, because every time I start sanding a panel, like right here, I buzzed that out there. And you can see there's like a little bit of fiberglass work here and stuff like that. Now I'll put a little bit of skim of fiberglass over the top of that section there, and then I'll just fill this section here. It's not perfectly straight, by no means, but that's fine. I want to get it smooth. I'm not worried about getting it perfectly straight. All right, I'm going to dig in and get started. I'll take you guys along. Well, the hood is ready. It's to the next stage. Took me about 45 minutes to do that hood. A lot of it had to do with the federation part of it. Now, here's the thing when it comes to federation. All this stuff here, there's so much material on this vehicle that the rule of thumb is for each individual layer should be about 1 inch. So you're talking about this back here. I'm not concerned about that, because what I'm going to use, I'm going to treat these as dents now, because that's the low spot there now coming up and falls off there. And I'll fill all this area here and fill this over to flatten it out. I'm not getting in stripping this. I just want to make it smooth and straight. I'm not worried about having it perfectly flat either. Same with over here. You can see the same issue I got right here. Like that there's, I can look at something like that and tell you that. Like that there's, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So from here to that last one here should be about back to here. About 7 inches. This one here is right. See, that's about 1 inch. That there's fine. But that's usually, you won't feel that, but you'll feel all this up here. That's just a rule of thumb. But for me, again, I'm just going to fill it all. I'm filling over the paint and all. I don't know what it's going to react like. I don't know what's on this for paint. I've done this many times before. I'm just butchering this. I'm not removing every bit. There's a whole bunch of little dots here. Like, it's almost like a sandblasted. That's perfect. I'm not touching it. There's a scattered scratch here and there. I'm taking the heavy ones out, the rest of them. You see this one here, that'll stay. I can't feel it. Perfect. Perfect. One of the things that I'm doing here is making sure that when I feather edge back, I come across, like right here's the one here I missed. Right here, you see this spot right here? You can see all this here is just a smooth transition. Now you can see that there's the layers. Look at the layers of material on this. But that little spot there, I look for spots that's rust or something there now. I'll buzz that back till it looks like this one over here. And that way I know then, because that's an edge there now, because there's rust or something there, and I'll buzz that back. So that's usually what I'm doing. I just buzz it back far enough that it's good there. Like I can actually feel that. You can almost see that one there, that's the low spot there. But that's fine. That's the way I'm going to leave it. I got that pretty well done. I'll give that a quick buzz over there now. The rest of them are all good. Got the front of the hood done. I'm going to move on now and start doing probably this cowl section and probably get into the roof. Run out of 100 stickets. I have to go out and get some supplies now. I figured I'd go as far as I can this morning to see how much I get done. I got the hood done. I got the roof done. The back of the cab is done. 2 cab corners are done, and I got pretty well this door completed. So I got the other door and 2 fenders to sand still yet, but I'm going to need more stickets for more than that. I got to do all my edges in around here and everything. What was I going over? Back here on the back of the cab, I'm going to fill from here out. And all that there, that's it, done, finished. I'll just give it a quick scuff over. This here will get seam sealed up along here, because there's still a seam there if you look at it. There's still a seam along there. So I'm just going to seam seal all that. It's behind the cab. Yeah. I'm pretty pleased with it. What amazes me about this truck, I was thinking about it all the years working on pickup trucks. I think I found 2 dents in this truck. There's a dent right here in the back of the cab here, and there's one that I put in the hood over on this side here. But most of these vehicles are beat round, right? There's a dent right here, and that's the extent of it in terms of dents. But like when you look down the side of this truck, right? It's amazing, right? The guy done the bodywork on it, done a wicked job, and I can tell you that. So that makes work a lot easier for me. No dents up here, not the dent. No dents up along here at all. It's wild. Usually these old trucks now, tops of the roof will be beat off them, and the 2 doors will be beat off them. All up along here now will be beat up on the fenders and the door, right? But yeah, so I'm just going, as I'm going along, I'm thinking of my game plan and stuff like that. And a lot of it, I'm going to leave it as because I'm putting primer on it. And when it comes time, if I ever decide to paint it, I'll dress it in, I'll black it out, and if I'll probably fill it. But I'm going to fill all the metal work I done, and anywhere there's any amount of filler work, like here, I'll put a skim on that, Like I can feel that, like whoo, that's low there, right? But when I runs my hand up across here, I got a little dent there, I'll skim in that. That's the patch I welded in, skim on that. This thing here in the middle now, that's going to need a little bit of goop on her, but I want to grind this off a little bit more now and put some rust converter on this stuff here. We're going to see about how long it's going to last. And I'd put it on rigs before, and it wasn't as bad as this. It was more along the lines of this here, that type of rust, on the roof of a truck that I did, and it's still holding up today. But I'm going to do all this here. There's a few other spots on her. I'll do a rust converter, and I'm just going to turn around and give her up here the nose right here, this here section here. But yeah, a couple spots on the fenders, nothing on the doors or the roof. It's all cut out of her. But I'm going to run to town. I'm going to make a list and head off to town and pick up a pile of materials. Oh, this is going to be a scary day for me. My credit card's going to get some pounding. Anyway, off I go. So I'm back from getting supplies. I decided, I was out to pricing them up, I decided to get some hookets in the 100s. So they'll last me longer. I got 2 boxes of them. I don't know how many I'll need, but it's always good to have a few in stock. Picked up another gallon of filler, a quarter short strand fiberglass. I was out there and noticed they had gravel guard and another thing of seam sealer, another tube seam sealer. And I stopped in Canadian Tire. This is not the stuff that I was interested in finding, but I want to give it a try. I can't seem to find the rust converter, the white stuff that I like. And I've called around a few places today, very quick on the way home, and I stopped in a Canadian Tire and saw this there, so I'll give it a whirl. I'm more concerned with like the exterior where I'm doing bodywork now, like this front of the hood section here, and there's a couple of small spots on it I'd like to do, and probably up underneath the drip rail here. I'll probably do that in rust converter. But the rest of it, pretty well sure. One spot back there, nothing serious. Probably up along there, run a brush across that. But I also picked up 5 gallons of thinners. I always like having that kicking around. I'm running low. I use that for everything. It's cheaper. I think that was $60 or something that was now. And like, 5 gallons for $60. So I'll do the math, right? But what you see here, that box, and that over there is $520. Wild. I'm telling you, nothing's cheap anymore. I got the gold filler, same as I had before, same stuff. This stuff here. And I'm going to turn around now and I'm going to dig out the old electric oscillator that I got here. And get see what that's like now for sanding for that. Also, my transmission guy showed up. And we spent a couple hours getting this all let go off the old engine. That's the old 4.6. So the transmission now has been sent out to get rebuilt So I'm going to wait on that. I got to find out what parts we got to get if we need anything. But yeah, it was quite interesting. We got that straightened away. I'm not going to bother with that tonight, cleaning that up. I want to see if I can get I would like to get this sanded tonight because I'm running late. It's after supper here now. And I'd like to get this sanded and get the rust converter on whatever I want to get it on for a night. See what it's like tomorrow. And then I'll come out tomorrow and start filling it. So I got her all sanded. I got to tell you, them hookets that I got today are way better than the stickets that I had. They seem to last a lot longer. And this V4 oscillator, I can tell you, that's some gear, that is. That's a really good machine. I've after using it a couple of times. And I've used oscillators a lot over the years in my trade. And I've always wondered about getting a good electric one, if you can find them around or whatnot. But this here, unreal. Like it reacts the same way. To me, it feels like the bigger oscillators because of the body and everything on it. It's not as small as my palm sander, but it's designed that you can hold it like a palm sander. It's not that heavy, right? It's lighter than the bigger ones. But yeah, I got that all done there now. I was there the week. We're talking about, I haven't put these little spacers here, and I said there's something goes here. Well, I was here today rooting around for something in my bin of stuff over here. This all the parts belong to the truck. This is what I find. Look, there's the brackets. There's two of them there. There's the other one there. Got a couple of bolts there. I'm going to bolt them on there now so the hood will close proper. That's cool. I was wondering about them. I didn't think I had them. I must have took them off and forgot I had them because they're in this bin. This bin got springs on it. It's got like the parts off the seats. It's got the windshield wash pieces and everything from the truck. But I'm going to bolt two of them on, and then I'm going to go around and put that rust converter on it, call it a night. I'm going to put down over all this stuff here. You only put it on the rust itself. So I'm going to dig out an old brush there now in a little container or something and start putting some rust converter on that there. Well, it's now the next day. I was out here last night. I was going to put rust converter on everything, and I played around with a spot right here, and I don't like it. I've never used this stuff before. This is the stuff here that I'm talking about. This is rust check stuff, and you got to clean it with water, apply this, like 20 to 30 minutes, and then clean it off with water. And it's not the same stuff. Like I can tell by looking at the color in the bottle, it's not the same stuff that I'm used to. So I had to go out today, back to town again, and hunt down a bottle of the stuff that I'm used to. This is the rust converter that I'm used to. This stuff, you put it on, it goes on white, turns purple, and goes black. I've used this in the past many times, and very pleased with it. You can get it in different brand names. This is the one that I'm familiar with, and stuff's not cheap, I can tell you that now. But the problem with it I'm going to run into now is that in the directions, I got to wait 24 hours before I do anything top coats or anything on top of it. So I got to put this on a few spots on the truck now, and let it sit. But there's other spots on the truck that I can do that I'm not putting rust converter on. I'm only putting this on the heavy rust. I'm not going to worry about small stuff. I got a spot on the hood and up around the drip rail. I like to put some stuff up around drip rail and go from there. So I'll go get this all prepped up and get started on that. So this is the stuff that I'm using. Proform rust converter sealer. I've used it a lot over the years. And this is when you look at it, when you pour it out of the bottle, it comes out like almost a white cream color. Don't need a lot of it. This is really too much. Pour some of that back. I'm only going to do a few spots on the truck. And old disposable paintbrush. Over and apply that now. This is the same stuff that I used on Krusty. I couldn't find it yesterday. I called a couple places and couldn't find it, and then I put the post online last night, and a few of the boys pointed out where to go, and that's where I went and got it. But you only put it on the rust itself. You don't recommend putting it on just the bare metal. Now, I've gotten away with it in the past. But you can see it goes on white. You dab it into the rust. It's supposed to neutralize the rust and lock it up. I've used it on a vehicle that I done, I'm willing to say, over 15 years ago. And I've had that on my other channel. It's a 54 Ford pickup, street rod that I done. And the roof was bad on it. And this is what I did with it. And I painted the truck black. And the truck still looks good today. But you can see it there now. It's turning purple. I'll take you back now and from time to time to show you the process of that. You leave that on there now, and it says you gotta leave it on for 24 hours. So I got other stuff here I got to do on this, so I'll leave this alone and start doing some fiberglass work on everything else. Done a few small spots here and there, the heavy stuff, where I figures that will possibly interfere with the outside of the vehicle, like this here. Up along the top here, I put it all down inside the drip rail because this drip rail was rusty on the back side, so hopefully it flows into it. I also done the bottom side of the drip rail. Did the back side of the drip rail and the section here, all this here was blistered up. Rest of the truck, I pretty well cut all the rust out of there. Then I got the couple of spots there on the hood that had to be done. Fender over here, same thing. Down here, you can see it all turning purple there now. And the spot in there, little spot there. Of course, drip rail on this side. And then back here, this is probably the worst side on her that I had to do. This is the one I replaced the drip rail on it, so I'm not bothering to do nothing with that. I'm just doing this back section here and I'll let that set up. I got one little spot there on the back of the cab there. But other than that, that's pretty well all I'm going to do with that, with the rust converter. That's good enough for me. I'm going to probably end up, like people are talking about tires rubbing. I know that these vehicles rub. I'm going to roll back the lip for now and drive it. Hopefully everything is fine. But I want to re-arch this, and I want to take all this entire wheel lip out of it. Take it out of it and put a whole new section in there and do it the way, with a very small roll lip all the way around. It's going to get right up into the belt line here. I have some pictures of one that's done similar to it, but he left all this on it and it doesn't look right. Just tapered back. I'm doing more of a like a 70 stock car look, and then I like to put a wider wheel on it. But for this year, this is what you're getting. If the tire rubs, if I can get out my driveway and turn up the road here and go up the street, the tire don't rub too bad, perfect for the year. Anyway, I'm going to go out now, mix up some fiberglass and start fiberglassing up all this stuff here. Up along here. I'll fiberglass that. Along the back here, do what I can. The bottoms of the doors, the cab corners. Get some fiberglass on that over this stuff here. So I can start doing some body work on it. The stuff I got the rust converter on it, I'm going to leave it alone now for till tomorrow. And then I'll do body work on that tomorrow. So what we have here is 2 cans. This is the stuff I had before. When I was at Krusty, I used this on it. I never liked it. This stuff here says on it, short strand reinforced fiberglass filler. This one here says short strand fiberglass, short strand fiberglass reinforcement auto body filler. Okay. Now, there's short strand and then there's long strand, which we used to call kitty here. Now you can look at this one here and just tell by looking at the outside of the can, that there is long strand. And like they probably changed it or something, but I've used a lot of this and probably a lot of people don't use it no more. I use this stuff here on over welds. Anywhere I does any patches in the car, I like to put a skim of that on over just the welding itself, not worried about filling it. I just want to seal it up for moisture. And if there's any pinholes that I missed or anything like that, that'll lock it up. And it's just a safety precaution. And I'm going to show you the difference in the 2 of these here and the reason why I like this more than this one here. Now this stuff is like a hair when you look at it. It's very stringy, and I never liked that. That's like, I calls that long strand. This stuff here don't go stringy at all. This is real smooth, and you can put it on nice and flat and thin. And that stuff there is kind of hard to put it on thin. So that's the difference in the 2 of them. Now both of these, they says they're short strand fiberglass. This is the stuff that I remember. This stuff here, We used to get that for the big heavy stuff we want to fill big holes in that. That's the stuff we used on that. And that was what we call long strand fiberglass or kitty here. So I'm going to go ahead now and mix some of this up and get some fiberglass put on them wells. 1 inch per golf ball. That's what you used to say. A golf ball size of that be 1 inch. And just mix it all up so it's all uniform. They don't recommend using cardboard to mix filler. I've always did it, never had an issue with it. The problem you got to do is not let your resin touch the cardboard because it'll soak it up. And make sure that you mix it up in the actual fiberglass first. So all I want to do is put a nice tight skim over that. That's it. The extent of it there. Look. That's all I want to do. So I got everything fiberglassed up. This is the exciting part, boys. Everybody loves watching a fellow doing body work, but it's all a part of it. I got to do it. You know, it's like watching paint dry. It just seems like you don't get as much interest on your channel when you're doing filler work. But this is all a part of the process. I'm trying to do it as quick as I possibly can to get past this. But I got everything fiberglassed up. Everything that I want to get done is done. I even done the top section of the dash here. I'm not going to bother with this up here. It's just too hard working overhead. I'm just going to fill that. That's all I'm going to do with it. But that there, I want to build that up a small bit there in the middle. Yeah, because I found it was a bit low and along here. So I just basically built it up with the actual fiberglass itself. And over here, same thing. Same spots. All welds is what I basically did. Anywhere there was welding. Along the roof here. Down the sides. I went over the stuff there early on that one because there's a spot there I wanted to do, and it was the only spot of welding that I had underneath the converter. Now you can see it up here on the hood. It's gone black. It's the way it turns black on you like that. I'll leave this alone out till tomorrow, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to give that a quick rub with a Scotch pad, I'd say, and then I'm just going to fill right over the top of it. Because I got to fill that section there, and then all these other spots as well. They got to be filled. But I can go ahead and work on the rest of it while I wait. But for now, I got to let this all set up. We had a couple of nice days here, and I decided I was going to do filler work today. And so it's cool and damp and raining out, and not a very nice day. So it's just going to be a slow process. I just got to wait for it to harden up. And then when it hardens up, I'm going to go over and buzz over the top of it. Most fellas leave it alone, but I'm a bit crude with putting it on, and it's a bit rough. And I'm going to give it a rub over with either 100 or possibly 40. I don't know. I'll probably do it over with a bit of 100. And just get the shape to it so I can start putting filler over the top of it. So I'm here and I got everything sanded down. You see me sanding there and hand sanding it and doing it all. I got it all blown off now, and I'm after going around rubbing my hand over everything, looking for any high spots or anything, tapping them down with the hammer. Any edges or anything that I got kicking around, scuff them off by hand. And around here, you saw me sanding that there, doing that by hand. But I'm very pleased with it. Like the bottoms of the doors and all that. Now, what I'm going to do about the doors, I'm blowing this apart to prime it, and but I wanted it all together here to get it all started. Biggest thing with me is I want to get this hood finished right where it's to. I want to get the outside of this filled and dressed, because that's the best place to do that, right where it's at. But The doors and the fenders, I'm going to take them off and put them on a workbench and work on them. The cab, of course, doing the repairs here. Sand it all in here. I still forgot to sand most of the corners and that. But I still got to sand some of that before I can fill it. I got some spots on that I got to do. But what I'm going to concentrate on this evening now, I'm going to leave the doors and fenders and the hood alone. And I'm going to do the cab dash and the roof section in the back of the cab and cab corners. I'm going to work on getting that stuff filled and get all that there done. There's not a lot. There's not a lot to it. Amazingly enough, the metal work came out really nice. Like what you're seeing there in the way of a skim, like it's a little bit up and down and everything there. Like it's kind of like that when you're going across there. Oh, that's minor. That's very minor considering. I used to have that. We had to beat it all up with a hammer and try to get the filler to be low enough. But yeah, over here, cab corners, that's all I'm doing. Not doing none of that in there. Just doing from here on out. Now there is some bulges in this down here where I welded the seatbelt bracket and everything in it, but it's in behind the box. I'm not going to worry about having this straight, perfectly straight. I got the body line put back in that. Remember I welded the gas tank cover in it, and there's supposed to be a little body line coming down across here. So when I went and fiberglassed over it, I turn around and I put enough on it that I can actually shape it down to get most of it with the fiberglass. Like right here, I had a high spot there and I had to tap it down, right? But yeah, I'm pleased with it. Up along the front there, I'll fill all this section here now. I'll come right on down to here, right on along the front. I'll come up probably to here somewhere, fill all this, and work on getting a nice body line across there. I've been noticing the body line fades out here, and it just rolls over on the back. The back feels good, considering I had to weld up half the roof up across the back of it here. But yeah, time to start flinging some mud. So here's what I got done. I did all the high sections of the door, because that way when I take it off, I haven't got to worry about down here. I like to do this on the bench because it's so hard to try to get that to look nice down there, lying on your side, and I'm getting old. I got all the roof done. All that there is pretty well dry there now. And I've done all the cab sections of it there. Same with the other side. Cab corner. This is the one where I had to replace all the door post section that had to be filled. And then tops of the doors, and over here. I had some filler left over each time, and I just put it on a spot on the hood. I'm going to start sanding all this here now. That's one thing about filler, when you put filler on. So like some people like putting it on and taking it off the cheese grater. I haven't used cheese grater in 25 years, for sure. I never liked them. I do everything either with a 40 stick it, or in this case, I'm going to try to knock this down with a 100. It's a real fine filler. I'm trying to get away from having too many 40 scratches in this here where I'm just putting primer on it. The smoother I can make it, the better it'll look. But when it comes to filler, you put filler on, you take it off within the first couple, about a half a dozen hours or so, like 4 or 5 hours, if depending on the weather. Because if you leave this stuff overnight, it's harder to sand. It just gets, the longer it sits, the harder it gets. But there's a grace period there where it's right next to sand. And that's what I'm at here now. Like when I can touch it, I can tell like that one there is not ready. This one here is, right? There's still a bit of stickiness to that one there, and there's no stickiness on this one here. So I'll get the roof sanded off. I'm just going to use this here again with a 100 stick it. That's been a dandy old thing, I can tell you that now. I'm having a lot of fun with that. And that's the first coat sanded off. You saw me there, the last of it. I was here and you saw me the process that I'm doing. I'm using that oscillator like a sanding block. I'm just moving it, just like if I was sanding it with like with a sanding block. And when I started to see light coming through, I stopped. I had low spots here. I'm not concerned about it here and here. Don't try to dig that out, nothing like that. Once you see this, stop. There you go. That over that again. You can try tapping this down, but it's not relevant. Like, it's not that bad there now. Like, this is not that low. It's just, it's very minute. So I'm just going to fill that again. That's all I've been doing with this here. Some of it came out really good, right? Now I'm going to take I think it's a block upstairs, a small hard block that I'm just going to turn around and give a quick rub over all this stuff. Up here, just like my welding, this is where I got the idea when I'm welding, when I was saying sand this side flat, then you got your edge, right? You can see I don't have no edge here, right? So that's all I've been doing is I've been sanding this side flat, and then leaving that alone. Don't go worry about trying to get up sand into that because you're going to fool everything up. You're trying to get a line to go along there. And same with along the front here. You can see like that's up and down going across there now. I'm going to work on that because that got to be filled again. But for the first coat, I'm amazed at some of this, how nice some of this came out for the first coat. Just my edges, a lot of it down here. This cab corner, don't need much more. Right? None of that there needs little or nothing, and same with that, that's done. In here now I got to do some hand sand. I got to go around and hand sand a bunch of stuff up here in these corners and stuff like that to get it all by hand. But you can see when I start blocking it off, there was a low spot here. I didn't, like, your first thing when you're sanding fillers, like, oh, it's a low spot, I got to sand that off. No, don't touch it. Leave it alone. That's, you know, your indication to tell you that you got a low spot there. What else was there? But like I said, like I kept sanding until I start seeing silver. When I start seeing metal, I stopped. Because now you can actually see, like I told you, there was waves on this side here. You can see the waves now because these are your low spots here and this is your high spots here. Now I like to fill this here so that it's all continuously filler like this here. Because anytime I see bare metal and bodywork, when I see guys doing it on the internet, and I see them say, okay, this is ready for primer, and I see this silver, I'm saying to myself, is that straight? It's far from straight, right? Like right here, this section right here, that there is fully filled, that's straight, okay? Down here, that's still got a bit of a wave to it, and like I can feel them spots now as I'm going across there. I might give them a love tap tomorrow, little small taps along there, and then fill that again. Let's see. That's it for this side. And the other side. You saw me there. Every time I had a bit of filler left over, I just smeared it over some of the dents and everything on this here, the low spots that I had on the hood, because I want to get the hood done tomorrow, because I want to start blowing this apart. The bottoms of the doors, the fenders, the bottoms of the fenders, I'm going to do all that on a bench. It's a lot nicer and easier, because I like to have a nice crisp line on that door. Over here, same thing. Come across a low spot here, high spot, stopped. That's what I did. You can see it up along here in the middle. You see high spot, and high spot there. Stopped, right? Now you can see it there. Now you can look, you see the fillers there, and there's filler here. That's all low. So, you know, I can, your first thing is you're going to come in here and tap this down, because I can feel that is high. Usually when you get little sharp ones like this one here and them ones there, they're high. I'll tap them down with a pick hammer and then I'll refill it again. Usually when it comes to filler work, twice, 2 coats, 3 max. That's usually where you'd like to be. After the 3rd coat, it gets frustrating then, because then you're just chasing after something and you're trying to get it 2 knots. I'm going to be filling all this possibly twice with a skim of 3rd, maybe. That's usually the way you do things. Sometimes you luck right into it, and you'll get it to be perfect in the 2nd fill. But I always say, you know, you possibly got to go for the 3rd one. And I'm not one for doing little bits of filler here and there on a thing. If I got to fill, if there's a low spot here and a spot here, the whole thing is getting filled again. I'm not fooling around with that, because I want to have consistency. The problem you got with these fillers is that now I'll let this sit over 24 hours now till tomorrow, and then I'll fill this spot here and I'll fill this spot here. Now this has only been drying for 2 or 3 hours that I got filler put on. So when I start sanding these spots, this filler here has been was drying for over 24 hours. It's harder than this filler. So all you're going to keep doing is you're going to cut this down, and you're not going to cut this down as fast. And then you're going to end up having waves in your filler. That's why I see fellas with filler on their cars, and you can see all the different colors, and they're trying to sand it down and breaking through. I like having consistent color of filler and have it so that everything is the one color. And like if I got a spot here and a spot here and a spot here, instead of just filling them spots, I'll skim this whole thing again, and that's what I'll do again tomorrow. It's always been the way this is what the part of the trade that I spent a lot of years at. I became good at it. I had to sod up a lot of salvage. Like, we never bought panels. We've had them with the roofs caved in, the hoods bashed off, doors, fenders, all that. No, repair everything. You weren't a bodyman when I got in the trade unless you can sling filler. And sadly enough, when I got into the trade, I ended up getting jobs because of that skill. Right? But yeah, I tries to stay away from it as much as I can. I do my own work now. I don't do anything for anybody else anymore. It's just, this is dirt work is what it is. Like, I'm here making a video on this now, and I can honestly tell you, I'm not going to get the views on this one as much as I do on the other videos, the fabrication videos. Nobody wants to see bodywork. It's like watching paint dry. Right? This is the part that makes a vehicle look good. The fabrication and the welding and all that, that's cool. That's fine as kind. But if you want, you know, decent looking rig going down the road, this is the stuff that's going to make a difference to making it look good. But anyway, it's been a long day for me here today. I never had much breaks here today. And I've been running around doing stuff again today, trying to get this thing done, and then in between that doing different things. So hopefully tomorrow I'm going to come out and get a full day at it. I must get that hood done tomorrow, get all this section here all glued up, start blowing it apart. I'm going to leave this now and just going to wait on this. This is what I'm waiting on. Tomorrow this will be fine. I'll give that a scuff over and fill right on over all that and get all that done. So it's now the next day, and I'm out here now, and I just give this a quick rub over all the top of this here. This is the harsh stuff here. What I'm going to do here first is I'm going to put a skim of fiberglass over all this as well, tighten it all up. I noticed there's one pinhole right here, and I'm not going getting in the well in that. So I'm going to, and it's pretty heavy pitted back here, a nice tight skim over all this here now, over all this here, and a few spots that I got here, just to give it some bite. And yeah, that's all I did is I give it a quick rub with a 100. Right, you can see some spots that I've after wiping off. Like if it's on metal and it's not rusty, it comes off very easy. So I'm gonna go ahead now and get this here all fiberglass stuff. So all I did, tight skim over it all. I'll let that set up and buzz it off and start filling it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up here, and I got some high spots. I'm going to tap down with a hammer. I'm going to get this entire roof section all filled again. So I got the roof all filled again. It's a lot easier on the second coat of filler because now you can see your body line. You can actually make your body line as you're going along there, and with the filler itself. The first coat I always found was almost just, you know, you're just trying to get some base on it. And the second coat, you start shaping your panel. I got all the roof done. I went over some other spots here that I had to rust convert around and just put filler on it. And filled a couple of small spots. I'm not getting too ahead of myself here now. And wants to wait for the hood to dry. It's still a bit tacky. This is just repetitious to what I'm going at here. And I'm going to buzz this off, fill that, buzz this off. I'm just going to fill a bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to dig into this, spend a few hours on it, and I'll bring you back when I get a good portion of this all filled, because you're not going to want to sit down and watch me filling this all day. All right, I'll get started. It's been a few hours later. I've been busy. I've been slowly pulling it apart. I got the roof done. All this here I done twice and got it in the second try, all on the back here. I got all that. And then up here in front, took me 3 attempts to get the line right on the front of it there, but I got it. I'm happy with it now. So the roof is done. The cowl section here is done on both sides. The back of the cab here is done. Little touch-ups on the bottom of the cab corner. I got a spot there I got to redo. The hood is here. The hood is all complete. All that's done. All the repairs on that. There's all that mess that was in the center of the hood. It's not half bad there. There's a little spot there. There's a little bit of oil candy there, but I'm not worried about it. As long as it's half smooth, that is perfect for me. I can tell you that now. Over here, where the 2 corners were all welded up, all of them have been filled. Where the emblems were at, on the front of her as well, all that's been done. I'm over here now and I got this side of the cab. Of course, that section there. Got all my seams all dug out. I always like my seams. It'll always look a lot better there now when all that's done. And of course that spot there on the cab. I got the doors taken off and laid over here, and I got the bottoms filled for the first time. This one here is not bad. Little spot there. There's a few little spots here and there. This one here, oh, she had a little bit of a low spot in her there. If I had any time back, I should have tapped it out. But that's perfect now. And so I got to refill that one again. And I flattened this out here. I'm trying to get this so I can get the locks in there and it doesn't feel so bad. There is a little bit of a hard, like it's starting to go uphill there a little tiny bit, but I just soon keep it low around the keyhole. And the red primer, you won't go seeing like anything like that. Got a little spot here I got to refill again. Tops edges of the doors are all done. I'm getting through it, I can tell you that. I'm here now pretty well trying to finish up these doors, and then when I get the doors finished up and they're done, I can lay them aside, and then I'm going to get started on the fenders. Inside the doors, all I'm doing is just going to clean everything up, feather edge everything out, and prep it, scuff everything off. I'm going to sand all this in here, give it all a quick sand. I'm going to give it all dusting. I still haven't started filling that. Oh yes, I did start filling this. Got this all filled up along here, first coat, and I got to get that sanded off. So I'm going to probably get started on that next and get that glued up. I try not to get too far ahead, get too much going on there. I got the two doors going, and I got that cowl section there. So yeah, and a few touch-ups. I don't mind the touch-ups, but I got to start blowing the front apart. I still haven't touched that front valance. That's going to be a job in itself, that whole front valance there. I'm taking that off to do that and just laying it on top of something. I got to lay it on something big enough that I can actually work it in terms of not folding it in half. This is just getting sanded, and then I got to do some repairs on this. One thing I got to do with this here is I'm going to roll the lips on the wheel wells. I expect the tire to probably rub here on the fender on the inside, but I'm going to roll everything out of the way. I might even cut a section of the fender well out of it on the inside, lip, make it smaller and roll it in. I want to have it so that if the tire rubs, it don't hook no straight edge flat metal. And other than that, I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to get away from it for now and not be concerned about what I'm going to do with that, because I want to rework this entire wheel well. I don't like the ends of it here or here for the idea that I want. There's one truck that I seen done with it, and he left this section here and he just arched this here, and I didn't like it. I want to do like a full-on arch this way here, letting this end here, and then just square this end off. But I'm not getting into that. Hopefully this year, like I said, if I can go out here and turn up the road and the tires just mildly rubs, that's perfect for me for the year. I'll drive it like it is. Anyway, I'm going to get back to sanding. I'll bring it back now in a little while. Again, I'm not going to bore you with anything. I'm just trying to get this done, so back to sanding. You saw me there, buzzing it off with the oscillator. I'm telling you, that oscillator has been amazing. I've been using that ever since, and it's been perfect. I've never had an issue with it. It does the job, and it keeps everything flat. It's not too hard on the hands either. But you saw me blocking it off there with that, and then I went over freehand blocking off the actual panels. I do that just on the long flat panels, just trying to get everything straight, just to make sure I'm happy with it. And this here is pretty well done. I have one little spot here I got to address, and I got a couple of these little craters in this one here, over here, and over here I got to do. And the two doors will be pretty well done. I got a few touch-ups I've been doing around on the rig itself. I got it all stripped down here now. Everything is limbed off it. I got the whole thing blown apart. This is the way this will be now for a while. I'm going to get this all primed, and I'm just going to, as I put it together, I want to get all this off so I can get the motor and transmission in it and work on all the front suspension and everything, what I got to do with it. I want to get this here. I got to put a skim of fiberglass on these welds here, and get that there filled up along there. Up here on the top, I went ahead and put a first coat filler on that. Oh, I'm telling you, I dreads working on that. I gotta find something to sit on in here. I should have left the seat in it. It's just awkward trying to get in there. It's like it's too far away to be sat on the floor, and if you kneel up, it's like very uncomfortable. And I got this all sanded. This is done. I'm happy with that there. That's all finished, so that's ready to be primed. The fenders and that here, I was going to roll. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm sizing them all up. Here's the issue you got with these here. Is I'll get this stand up. Right here, I got this lip here, and then I know the tire is probably going to rub here and hook these fenders. It's going to rub in this section here, and probably down here somewhere, possibly on the top side. And I think I'm just going to cut all this off it. I got no real purpose of it because I figured the tire may rub here and I may just catch the end of this, and I want to eliminate this altogether. And like I've done it in race cars, I'll cut the lips off them. I'm more concerned about the tires hooking it. I know they're going to rub. How bad is the question. I may change the whole concept of this entire fender yet, but for now, just trying to find a quick and simple way to doctor this up. And all I'm going to do is just take a grinder, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm probably going to cut pretty well most of it all off. I'll probably leave about a 1/4 inch there, and then I'll just fade it out down here on the bottom side, just so when you look in from the side here, it looks like a factory wheel well. And that'll eliminate that. So if she do rub, she'll probably rub on this part of the fender here, which I'd rather rub here, because all I'm thinking about is cutting the tire on this stuff here, and I'm trying to avoid that. Inside here, all is getting done in here. I'm going to rust converter this stuff here, and then this is getting cold primer. This is this whole rig is getting all primer inside and out. The more I think about it, I'm going to seam seal stuff up before I primes it. I'm not going to do nothing with it. Just seam seal right over the edges here. There is a proper like, you know, it'd be better if this was all primed first and then you seam seal it and then you reprime it again. I'm not going at that. Because of what this truck is, this is a beater for me. I'm just trying to cut corners. I've been meaning to bring this up. A lot of people have been noticing that I'm filling right over all the paint and everything. I'm using this gold filler, I calls it. This stuff is like a finer filler, and you can actually put it on filler. The white filler doesn't seem to work that good over this stuff here when you put it on over paint. It's not the proper way of doing it, okay? By rights, the whole vehicle should be stripped to the bare metal and then start from there. But because of what this truck is, this is how I'm doing it. This is when you make simple little beaters, you cut corners, and this is how you cut corners. This here will cause all kinds of troubles. If you decide to go take this vehicle here and do base clear on it, this would be a nightmare, okay? All this here would probably lift and swell and ring out and all this type of problems. I'm not going at that. If this gets any paint at all, it's going to get single staged rust paint. That's all that's going on. There's going to be no expensive paint put on this here because the price of materials right now, I'm willing to say, as of now, I'm doing body work on this now, just in the body work, I probably got, I got $500 spent on materials. Talked about that earlier. It's crazy the price this stuff has gotten, right? But that's it. Once get it done, a cheap paint job now is, you know, $1,500, $2,000 is a cheap paint job. When I was going around knocking on cheap paint jobs, $400. And I can remember going out and buying paint reducer and hardener and getting change back from a $100 bill. Now that was a cheap line of paint I used to get. But yeah, this is where I'm to. Oh, and today is Friday. I haven't filmed much of this because it's just tedious work. A lot of it is just me hand sanding and digging out little edges like this here and going down here and touching up little spots here and then hand sanding them off and then blowing this all apart and then refilling stuff a second time, refilling stuff a third time. I'm not going getting into that because this is not a very what you call lovable type of work that people enjoy watching. But I took you along. You remember how that old roof, how rough that was? There it is, right? It's come a long way. The old truck has. I'm going to continue on here and sand some more. I got another couple hours here. I usually try to stay at this till dinner time Fridays. And whatever it is then, That's going to be your video. So I'll continue on and I'll bring you back when I get some more work done. Oh yes, I got the valance up here. But I've got to find somewhere because this is going to be flimsy here. I got to find some way of putting this on something, get a piece of plywood or something, lay it on, where I can actually do work on it, because this is very, very delicate. That there is just getting sanded, feather edged out, primed. That's it. I have an abundance of parts here, this stuff here. I got the hinges left on there. I got to weld in plates on the back side before I take the hinges off. I'm not doing nothing with that. I may run over it with a hunter stick it, and that's the extent of it. Two of them. They're going satin black. The hinges are going satin black. The rad support is over there. That's going satin black, and I have a whole bunch of little small parts, and they're all going satin black. And I'm going to do the lower section of the firewall here, satin black. All this is going primer red. That is my goal with this here, and I might even splash all the front of this here yet. I don't know. We will see. But I got to prime all this here, put rust converter on stuff that's in here, because I got rust in here. All that there got to be done. And all inside the doors, all I'm planning on doing, I'm going to feather edge out a few spots like that. Rust converter, anything that got to be rust converted. Seam seal, anything that got to be seam sealed. And then I'm just going to hand sand that there, and then prime all that there. Prime, do the same thing here, hand sand all this here, feather edge that out over there. I'm not going to put no filler in it, and just prime all this in here the same way. Right? This here will be going satin black. Right? So, but that's it. I'm going to continue on again. Some work to this. Some of you have been with the channel a long time, and you know that I actually got a booth set up, where I can actually hang tarps down and keep everything neat and tidy and clean. I never bothered with this one. I haven't done my spring cleanup here and blew everything off and cleaned up the garage and everything, so I just never bothered. Just as simple as that. This stuff is absolutely dirt. Everything around here now is covered in filler dust. Everything in the garage, everywhere you look. Top of the toolbox, top of the welders, stuff on the shelves. Everything is covered in filler dust. But that's it. I usually blows it out every spring, opens up the doors and cleans her out. And that's the reason why I never bothered to set up the booth. So I figured I'd just make that clear, because a few are going to say, well, how come Tony never set up his booth? One thing about bodywork is that you can work at it for hours and it still looks like you got nothing done. Well, it's dinner time here now. It's quitting time. I managed to get fiberglass on this here. I got that done. I, amazingly enough, got that all sanded. And I'm quite pleased with that. That's good enough for me. I got to clean it up a small bit more. Might have a small touch-ups. I haven't got to fill it all again, which is good. That wasn't easy. I didn't like doing that at all. That was just absolute dirt work, that was. I went around in and done the cab corners, sanded that off, had a bunch of spots on it I had to resand again, and I got into sanding this here, getting this all prepped. It just seems like, you know, I went in here and done some fiberglass work on this, over that. But yeah, there's where we're to with it now. The biggest thing I can say with this is here, we got all the big heavies done with. The roof is done. The bottoms of the doors are done, cab corners are done, these front cowl panels are done. You know, it's moving ahead with the project. This is why I wanted to do all this. People were saying you should haul the box in and do the box. My whole goal with this is here now. As you can see, there's no front on this. This is the way it's going to stay now, once I get it primed. I want to start getting this thing put together and get it running and get the brakes done on it, and see what suspension work got to be done on it. I can do the box while I'm at that as well. But in order to do all that, all this got to be done so I can get it all in primer. I can't put the dash in it unless the dash is painted. I can't put the wiring in it. I can't put the seat in it because the carpet's not in it, and all this type of stuff. Well, the floor mat, not carpet. So that's the reason why I'm doing this now, to get this all done. This is the dirt work. It's a lot of paint work, nuisance stuff that got to be done. the body work, you know, all that type of stuff. But I'm moving forward with it. And I'm going to show you everything that I've been involved with when it comes to building this truck. I'm trying not to skip over too much, but I do know this bodywork racket is what it is. It is absolutely dirt work. You can hear, look, you can see, you can have a good look at how that front frame is rigged up on this now. That's the actual brace. I got to weld it up on the inside here, a bit more than on the bottom. And I got to notch this out in here for the actual, so I can get at that bottom bolt to get that off. But yeah, I got to sand all this stuff left on this now. I got to give all this a feather edging out. All this got to be rust checked. Got to go over and do all the rust check. I got to sand all inside the doors. I got to sand inside the cab. What else is it? I got to do the front fenders. I got to cut them, do the body work and everything on them. Sand them on the inside, rust converter on the inside of them there as well. And same with that one. Inside the doors got to be done and sanded and prepped for actual primer. And of course all this in here as well. But yeah, that's where we're to. I got that panel there sanded too. That was the one, top one, the actual latch was mounted to. I got that sanded. I've been just piddling around here this morning and just trying to get all the small things glued up. Like the little cab corners, a little bit of touch-ups I had on it. So that's where we're to. This is where we're going to leave this one. My whole goal in the next video is to have this in primer. So I'm going to be cutting off a lot of what I've been doing here and trying to, my plan is the weekend. I usually take the weekends off, but I think I'm going to come out and spend the weekend doing all the little work on this here to get ahead of the game so that by the time next week rolls around, I'll be ready. I'd like to have this ready Sunday for a coat of primer. Be nice. Now I look at it, it's a lot of work. But anyway, this is where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips are good, and until next time.